recording again. Yeah. So far I've only put the G and the D on loosely, working our way down the packets. Road Sound, British company. Always liked their strings. Never had a problem with them. Very, very rarely failed. And I like the round wound. I've tried different styles of strings, as most guitarists will. As you go along, you'll try different makers and different styles, different materials. But I found these worked well for me. Where did I get to? Motown. I think after that I started to get into looking for stuff that was more technical. Again, it's sort of spurred from playing the thrash kind of stuff, and at the time the British metal scene was sort of verging back towards a bit like when it was in the late 70s, early 80s, and you had the kind of prog rock and techno rock. So the thrash stuff, even though it was still obviously, you know, quite hardcore kind of stuff, people were getting more and more into making it musically technical. So as it usually does with stuff like, you know, people take it to extremes in both directions. But it caught my interest when listening to people like Cliff Burton. There's another big influence for me. Cliff Burton, the original bass player with Metallica, and watching his style when he actually got to play what he wanted to play. You know, when they let him, just saw him a few times live. Well, I saw him once live. You know, seen, obviously there's multiple videos out there of his different performances and whatever, and watching his style of playing, that to me again is what I refer to as an open style. It's an instrument, it's a stringed instrument. You play it to generate noise out of it in whatever way you want. You don't look at it and go, oh, it's only got 4 strings, therefore I go dun 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 dun, and that's it. No, that is just being ignorant. You know, remember that as well. Watch his face. He's some stupid name I can't remember, from Wasp. He used to be the bass player, and then when the one guitarist left, he decided he was going to swap and become the rhythm guitarist, because in his own statement he said the bass guitar is an instrument of ignorance. And I was just like, you what? And I was like looking at the albums I had of Wasp, thinking, should I throw him out the window, set fire to him, or what? He's committed sacrilege. But I didn't. I just stopped listening to their silly penis rock. But Cliff Burton, if you look up the live videos of him performing Anesthesia, his bass solo track, the classic bass solo track, which I know half of, if I can remember. The way he played just amazed me. The way he would just attack the instrument, but not in an aggressive fashion. He was to me he was a classic virtuoso. He just caressed that instrument and sounds came out of it. In the same way as when you watch any good musician. So that got me more looking at stuff that was at the time certainly not considered mainstream. So that was then what led me to discover Les Claypool. At the time he was playing in a band called Blind Illusion, and I sat there listening to it, and I could hear all the harmonics and the chords and the stuff like that he was playing. I was just sitting there thinking, how's he doing that? How's he doing that? And of course that spurred me to find out how he was doing it and start learning how to do that kind of stuff. I think I might have mentioned it like an hour ago in one of the other videos, but I'm in no way trying to say that I can play to that kind of level. I don't think I ever could. I got close to it, but yeah, I was not that kind of level, and I certainly would not think I could do a lot of that stuff anymore now. But we shall see. Yeah, from Les Claypool, I then continued sort of looking at the technical stuff and watching people like Billy Sheehan, Stuart Ham, Flea from Chili Peppers, Bootsy Gold. Yeah, it may seem, again, it's the difference I think between, if you're a non-musician, I'm not saying this in any way to like, you know, be denigratory to people or say that you're like muggles, yeah, you don't know the magic therefore you don't see it, but it is a little bit like that, because in general when people are listening to music, most of the time they're carried along by the primary melodies that are going on in the music, so they're not really noticing what's being done in the layers of the music as a whole. So for example, if you play drums, you would hear the little intricacies that the drummer's doing and the changes of time and stuff like that, and you'd take notice, but a general listener, just it wouldn't even register. And then it's the same thing with the bass guitar. A lot of the time people just don't even register that it's there, because they're too busy listening to the, you know, the fancy guitar licks or the vocal melody or whatever. But people like Bootsy Gold, when you start to mooch through a lot of that old music or older music, and you hear just the simple skill of how he would carry the majority of what made up, certainly at that time with the kind of disco funk revolution, almost the entirety of that style, that genre, relied on the rhythm, and the rhythm was primarily provided by the bass and drums combination to give it that very boogie dancey rhythm. You know, that required a very good rhythm layer right from the start. No matter what was put on top of it as a melody, it was the rhythm layer that mattered. I think that's why now in modern times we ended up with things such as drum and bass, because people started to appreciate more just the rhythmic element of the music, so that developed into a genre of its own where that was primarily what was concentrated on. And obviously you got the other aspects of the fact that I think a lot of people out there, similar to myself, like music that you feel in a physical way. That was the thing that attracted me to playing the bass right in the first place. It wasn't because I couldn't play a guitar, because I sort of can. I've never really bothered learning properly, but I can strum a tune and hold, you know, strum a few chords and whatever, and I could have and I still could put more effort into actually learning to play guitar properly, but I wanted to play the bass because when you strike those strings you can actually feel it in your chest, in your gut, and obviously depending on the size of the rig you're using and stuff like that. But yeah, there's a lot of influences, as there always is for most people, yeah. But I just thought I'd mention a few, quite a few, as I went along trying to put these strings onto the bass string now, so we're nearly there. This is always the hardest one to get on. And this is hoping that with the new strings tuner will actually register enough so I can tune them, because otherwise it's going to have to wait until I've got the rig set up so that I can hear the harmonics properly, and then I'll be able to tune it to itself. I may not have, well, as far as I know, I don't have perfect pitch, so it probably won't be perfect pitch to 440C and whatever, but I'll be able to tune it to itself. So as long as I'm playing with myself, it'll sound alright. Yeah. It's alright when I play with myself. Losing all the light as well now. Yes, Cat, sorry, I know, I will feed you soon. Yes, Cat. Fart. That's in the tune of fart. Right, tried plugging the tuner in quick. It's at 12 minutes. Still don't want to register anything. Oh, come on. For whatever reason, I wonder, could it be the cable? I really hope not, because that's a good quality cable. But just in case in the case, I ain't got time to answer no phone. You'll have to just ring and leave me alone. Keep ringing, Mr. Phone, because I ain't gonna pick you up. Give you no bone. So it wasn't the cable. Suck it. No. Why you no work? Me send you back to Japan. Demand money. No. Oh, saw something in. So it's got an acoustic mic on it as well. Damn, running out of time. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to fiddle with this and try and tune it up. And then if I'm, yeah, I might try and get the amp out and plug it in. But anyway, I'll wrap it up there because it's like over 14 minutes. Bye.